Hi everyone, this is Introduction to Narrative Writing. Our objectives are identify the features of narrative writing and recognize narrative elements and structure. First, let's define narrative writing. The purpose of a narrative is simple. It is to tell the audience a story. It can also be written to motivate the audience, to educate the readers, or most commonly, to entertain. Narratives can contain both fact or fiction. For this lesson, we will focus on one specific type of narrative. We call it the personal narrative. So a personal narrative essay is a story about oneself. It focuses on the person that we are. It also has a thesis statement or a topic sentence explaining why this particular story is significant or important to you. So you can expect that a personal narrative would have personal experiences, emotions, thoughts, and personal opinions about a certain topic. So what are the features of a narrative? We already know about the story elements, consisting of characters or the individuals around which the entire story revolves, the setting, which would be the time and place where the story is set, and the plot, consisting of events that happen in the story. We would also focus on narrative structure, which is how the plot is arranged. So this is how the plot looks like in a narrative. It is fixed in the form or in the shape of a pyramid. First, we have the orientation or the exposition, which is basically the start of your story. This is where you introduce your characters and the setting. After orientation is the rising action, which is the series of conflicts or problems in the story that leads to the climax. Conflicts and problems are very important in a story because without them, the characters would never change or would never learn anything. Next is the climax, which is the most intense moment either mentally or physically to your characters. It is also the turning point in the story and the part where the character takes an active part in solving the conflict or the problem. Next is the falling action, which is all of the action that follows the climax. This is also where we start tying up loose threads in our story. Last is the resolution. This is the conclusion or the end of the story. It also summarizes the entire story and tells us what the message of the story is. So writing a personal narrative is basically simple. It has three fundamental parts: the beginning, the middle, and the end. So to begin your narrative, you have to ask yourself the questions: who are the characters and what is the setting? There are keywords or transition words that you can use to write an effective beginning. These are first, at first, in the beginning, initially, to begin, and to start. Next, you go to the body or the middle of your narrative. Guide questions for writing the middle would be: what happens to the characters? What are the events? What is the turning point? Where is the action? And is there a problem? How are the characters solving the problem? Keywords that you can use or transition words for the middle would be next, then, also, later, in the middle, additionally, and suddenly. You have to also write a perfect ending to your personal narrative. How are the characters different because of what happened in the story? How did they change and what have they learned? And how was the problem in the story resolved? Keywords or transition words for writing the ending would be last, finally, in conclusion, in the end, eventually, and at last. I hope you've learned a lot from our discussion. You can also check out our references and resources for more information about this topic.